everyone. Welcome to our Tea at Two talk. I have my director today, Jacob Starks, here to visit with me. I'm Suzanne Moore, County Librarian. We're in my office. Excuse the mess. But we have lots of great books to talk about today. For the month of June, there's so many good things to read. We want to give you a few highlights and update you on programs and book conversations. And I would like to try to take it to you chronologically, so I'm going to skip around with various topics to begin with. Let me say this one thing. The book that we're reading and talking about for the reading trap in Trap Hill Branch Library, I left my book on the nightstand, but I have a brochure. It's called Excellent Women, and it's written by Barbara Kim. She is a British author, and she celebrates her birthday, well, last Sunday. So that's why we're reading her book, kind of to give a little homage to her work and understand about her writings. And this is one of the books that's recommended that you must read, right? Excellent Women refers to the women in the clergy that do the volunteer in the work for the church. This is a story that's it's got a comedic twist to it, a little bit of comedy involved there. Here's a quote. Once outside the magic circle, the writers become their lonely selves, pondering on poems, observing their fellow men ruthlessly, putting people they knew into novels, no wonder they were there without friends. I think she's talking about herself. Her novel is said to be a novel of manners. That means, I looked that up, a work of fiction that recreates a social world detailed with observation of customs, values, and all these behavioral conventions, manners. So the excellent women, right? There's going to be some manners going on in that story. It starts off with a spinster lady who they're trying to get her married, and she's living in a flat that she shares with the vicar and his sister. So adventure to come to this. There was a film that they watched on YouTube recently by the author, and if you'd like to look that up, I'll recommend that to you for a little background. It's called Mrs. Pym's Day Out, and it's really about the author, but it also applies to some of her work. She was awarded a Booker Prize, and this is her dinner and her adventure going to accept that award on YouTube. Mrs. Pym's Day Out. Excellent Women. They meet on the second Thursday at noon every month. So next Thursday, which is the 14th at 12 o'clock, we'll be at the Trap Hill Branch Library to have a discussion about her work. And we always have something good to eat. And if you can see on the cover, they're having a tea party. So we're probably just going to have a tea party when we talk about that book. So come out and join us. Because I want to give you a heads up on things to come next month, give you plenty of time to read in advance. Next month, we're celebrating the birthday of David Mitchell. Now, here's a disclaimer. We thought his birthday was in July, but when we planned to celebrate his birthday and I put the brochure together, he's really born in January. So you heard about Christmas in July. This is January and July. January birthday. Yeah, the January, July. Yeah. Have you read Cloud Atlas?
I haven't. I saw the movie.
The film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually read the book. Have you?
I'm going to.
Okay.
I'm going to. It's on my list to read. And the movie is awesome. We are showing the film here. Every first Saturday at 1 o'clock, we have Keeping It Real, like the movie. Here, it's been in the cinema, but we're going to bring it to the library. So this month in July is our first time in the library. July the 6th, I believe, is the first Saturday in July. Okay. Come on down 1 o'clock to see the film. Tom Hanks, Halle Berry. The story is a sci-fi type story. Now, here's a little quick summary. David Mitchell, of course, is who we're celebrating as far as the author, and he's another British author. And this is like a series of nested stories. They're all like coming, one story opens up into another, but they're coming through time and across centuries in the past and going into the future. Sort of a sci-fi type of take on this story, but I want to give you, here, I gave you a disclaimer, but let me tell you what it says, a content warning. This is an adult novel, may have some slavery issues, racism, other topics that could, trigger trauma, but, lots of books with those types of things in mind bring conversation into a setting with a group of folks that have read the book to understand each other and learn from each other. So Cloud Atlas is the book to read for July. That movie on July 6th, the book conversation second Thursday in July, and I'm sure I'll see you again before then and give you more of an update on my thoughts about the book when we meet next month with our Zoom talk. So the next thing coming up is always on the second Friday, our Veterans Book Club, Talking Service Book Club. And this is not the entire book. We don't read this whole book every month.
It looks like a very thick book.
It's full of it. It's full of short stories, okay? Yeah. And our veterans get together each month to discuss one of the selections. There's like 44 selections in the book. And they always pick out in advance what will we read about next month. And I want to say one thing, it's not just for veterans, so anybody can attend. We target our veteran audience. We want to have something for them to dive into a conversation and reflect in their service time, because the book here, Standing Down, is from warrior to civilian. So you're trying to process what happened to you while you were in service and get back to your normal everyday life. And these are some stories that can help you. I'll try to locate the one to read with you next Friday. And it is by J. Sanders Redding. It's a short essay, and it's a World War II essay. And it's called A Negro Looks at This War. So J. Sanders Redding is a Black man, and he worked in universities. He had a long career as a professor. He's a very prominent African-American scholar. This reflects on his belief about races and how they were integrated during wartime, and not necessarily always justified. And not justice was not always, there wasn't enough equality is what he's trying to say. So they're not just fighting for their country, but they're also fighting for equality with their white race. But it's a very interesting read, and we'd love for you to join our conversation with that. Second Friday of every month is 10 o'clock here in the library. That will be next Friday. What's the 10th? What's the 14th? Is that right?
There's the 7th is this Friday, 14th is Friday.
Next Friday's the 14th. I just, I had my notes, right? See. I said that the reading trap met on the 14th, but they really meet on the 13th, on Thursday. Friday, the 14th is the Talking Service Book Club. Blech. Okay. So Jacob, he's going to tell us a little bit about the next book. Happens to be discussed twice in the library, and I'll let you take it off, and then I'll share the date so we don't forget the date.
Sure thing. The Welcome to the Circus of Baseball is part of the NC Reads book and our book club. Basically uses that curriculum for all of the reading. But this is a really fantastic book. It is written, of course, by Ryan McGee. He's a senior writer for ESPN and was co-hosted with Marty and McGee on ESPN Radio and the SEC network. Let's see here. A few things about this book that will really stand out. Number one, there is a brawl of about 14 different mascots that are involved in for different minor league teams that he talks about in some detail. It's worth reading for that, if nothing else.
A brawl? Were they in costume?
A brawl, yeah. Mascot, well, partial, when mascots get into a real tough fight, apparently.
Do their heads come off?
Sometimes.
I'm just imagining it.
So there's some interesting parts about that, but this is a love letter really to the Asheville Tourists minor league baseball team of the 90s, where he was basically sort of a utility infielder, an everything employee. Is kind of how he describes himself, a do-everything employee.
And the circus, the name's the circus of baseball. That's kind of like the brawl, right?
Well, it's everything that goes into it. But yeah, he's he explains quite a bit about, what makes minor league baseball possible and some of the great things about minor league baseball. And that team in particular, for example, Roberto Clemente's nephew played on that team, and was one of the very few on that team that actually ended up making it to the majors. None of that team had stellar major careers where they were, superstars in Major League Baseball. But to be able to get up from that level to the majors is significant. But some of the things that he describes through the book, if you personally, family trips took me through Asheville a couple of times every summer in the 90s. And so, went to quite a few tourists games, went to quite a few Knoxville Blue Jays games. And there was such a significant difference between those two experiences, and the Asheville tourist experience was just something else entirely different. Partly because the ballpark is basically carved into the mountain there. And then some is just sort of the flavor for the fans and some of the antics that go on with it. So it's interesting to see all of the opportunities that came out of it, especially for this particular writer who was able to end up doing play-by-play announcing for the tourists as a result of a radio syndication. He talks a little bit about that at the end. One of the things that we like to see, especially this time of year with summer and baseball and having a kid's summer reading, is that a lot of the things that the library does is creates opportunities for learning and advancement. And that's really what a minor league baseball team is opportunities for learning and advancement for professional baseball players, whether they make it to the majors or not. There's other springboards to success, and he kind of touches on that throughout all of it. But it's a really nice nostalgic look at an era that I don't think you see a lot of history being written about. Minor league baseball itself went through a bit of contraction here in the past 5 years, and what makes it special is that it can survive that. And we see these semi-pro teams, of course, that have started up. I know there's one here in Wilkes. I know there's one in Watauga.
Yeah.
But overall, it's a really fascinating read, and it's written in such a way that you'll zip right through it. But it will be interesting in those book clubs to hear people share their memories of the area and what that was like. But one of my absolute favorite parts is where he describes the concession stand.
You want to read it to us?
Let's
Is it very
see.
long? I love the concessions. I was thinking about that. Makes me want a hot dog.
Yes. I can read just a short bit from page 140. And then there was the grill. That place was like a darn kiln, a little cinder block room that was nothing but cast iron gates as far as the eye could see, all glowing red. Dante may well have prophesied this exact location when he wrote Inferno. I have always theorized that because the grill was located at the steepest point of the ballpark structure, that furnace was connected directly to the hot magma center of planet Earth. The two kids who manned the grill station each night were a couple of high school students and best friends, Robbie and Ryan. One standing 6.5 feet tall and the other looking about half the size. I called them the Grill Boys, and they cranked out burgers and grilled chicken sandwiches. Cheese was 25 cents extra, all while keeping the French fry oil bath sizzling at temperatures that the Vanderbilt family's construction crew could have used to melt and shape the steel for the Biltmore estate. I always love to listen to patrons who place their order with the Grill Boys as if they were dining on Wagyu filet mignon at Ruth's Chris. I'd like my burger medium rare, crispy on the outside to hold in the juices. Also, please hold off on the cheese until the very end so that it melts just right. And toast the bun if you don't mind. I heard that very request one night placed by a gentleman who looked like the same kind of stuffy professional type of character Edward Herman often portrayed on screen. The real Herman's order was always dog please, and he was done. Whatever, dude. No one was placing custom orders with the Grill Boys, just as no one was ever going to be at any risk of contracting salmonella. That's because everything served up by the Grill Boys came well done. That included the Grill Boys themselves, who ended every night by cleaning their instruments of incineration and then emerging from the food furnace soaked in sweat, stained by soot, and singed from hands to eyebrows.
Oh my.
The big one wore glasses, and most nights he'd step out in the cool evening air, and when he took his spectacles off, he looked like a raccoon. So
Wow. Well, I do like custom food in the grill,
that's the thing, though.
You were reminding me of that on the hot dog. Grill it right, toast the bun.
You try, but in those situations,
It's not gonna work.
when they're cooking volume, you're just gonna get a little hockey puck, and that's good enough.
That's funny.
But the fries are good.
Oh, yeah.
Fries are always good.
Yeah. Well, I was just talking to some folks over at VFW about the Moonshiners. They have a baseball league that starts up over there. And that looks like a fun thing today. They have ribbon cutting in our town, so lots of baseball. And as far as Marlene, she's the leader of that group. She's out vacationing this week, and she loves baseball, basketball, anything sports related. So she's got a lot of stories of personal experience. I think all of you probably have if you follow sports.
Oh, yeah.
You can relate, and it'd be a great conversation to share what you've got going on. So her club meets at 4 o'clock on June 18th. That's every fourth Tuesday in the library, and they're going to be discussing the circus of baseball. Welcome to the circus of baseball. The book club is reading, like Jacob said, the same thing that the statewide NC Reads collection is for the month of June. And we actually got some extra copies with a grant. So if you're interested, we have some free copies to share. Come on down and pick one up, but you got to kind of promise that you'll come back for the conversation. We want you there to talk about the read. The conversation with the author is going to be live streamed with the North Carolina Humanities Council. The author, like you said, Ryan McGee, will be attending us virtually to have a conversation about the book on June 26th, which is at 6 o'clock. You can find all these dates on our calendar. You can always call us and reschedule, get that schedule in your head again. This is recorded, so you can look at it again.
There you go.
There you
Always
go.
press rewind.
Right. Okay. I do have a few more things to mention for us. What's good to read this month? We're all recognizing Flag Day on June 14th. The Children's Department has given me a few books to share with you with some beautiful illustrations and things that you can read with your kids and honoring Flag Day. This is about Betsy Ross, the flag maker, and it's all about how our flag was born. And then another birth of the nation type story is a poem about Juneteenth, and this is when we finally recognized that our slaves were not only emancipated but totally free. So this takes place in the poem "Free at Last." After 300 years of forced bondage, hands bound, descendants of Africa picked up their souls, all they owned, leaving shackles where they fell on the ground and headed for the nearest resting place to be found. And some of them stayed in the South, some of them migrated to the North, but this is all about their journey. So we're celebrating Juneteenth, we're celebrating Flag Day, and last but not least, we have another freebie for our teen audience. It's called If You Give an Ox an Oxy. And it's like a graphic novel, and it's full of factual information to help us understand the opioid crisis and how it is affecting our nation and generally how it's affecting us here in this country. Well, you may remember the children's book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, or If You Give a Moose a Muffin. This is a paradoxical story. If you give an ox an oxy, you can find out what happens when he takes a few opioids and overuses them, and then when he takes too many, it's not good. And how can that inspire us to be understanding and help in one way to help reduce stigma surrounding addiction, but also to promote recovery. And this is a healing story, what we can do with this crisis that we're faced. The money coming for these books is from our county's opioid settlement grant, and we do have some programming attached to the resources, and we do have a new vending machine out here on our 10th Street. It's vend Narcan, an overdose reversal medication, something that everybody might want to keep on hand, just like you would a bee sting kit if you got accidental overdose from prescribed meds, or just be aware that it's something that can help save a life. The teens are coming out January. Now I'm doing January and June.
We got January and June.
We got January, June, and July, all the J months.
Yeah.
June 29th, y'all.
Keep us in the warm month.
Right? We don't want to go back to winter yet. The summer's here, right? June 29th, the teens are coming. Have you heard about Wild?
I have not heard about Wild.
Wild is a teen group, and they're not just sowing their wild oats. Wild is spelled with a Y, not an I.
Okay.
It's Wilkes Youth Leadership Development. They're coming out, and they're going to decorate the sidewalks, and any teens are invited to join in and work with them. You might want to be a member of the Wild group. It's a peer-led group with some nonprofit organization here with some adult advisors. But they do good things in the county, and they're going to put sidewalk art all around the building to help us reduce stigma and understand about the opioid crisis. And we'll be giving out books, and we're going to have pizza that day. So that's June 29th. Mark your calendar and visit us for that event. It'll take place around noon and into the afternoon hours. These are some good reads. There's always so many books that I wanted to tell you. I want to read everything I see, right? But mainly we are promoting summer reading, which kicks off tomorrow at the Commons, and the Commons in Wilkesboro on the grassy green. We're going to have a DJ, face painters.
What time is that?
From noon to 3.
Noon to 3.
Noon to 3, and you'll get your log where you can chart your minutes read. There is a calendar of cool events, and this is actually the adult chart. There's one for the youth as well. The summer reading is for all ages. Everybody can participate. We want to log how many minutes we're all reading cumulatively. Challenge yourself as an incentive to read throughout the summer. Keep your brain active, and win prizes. So you can get, we're challenging you. You can get some prizes for every minute you read. They total up, and you'll get in the drawing to win some cool things. We'll see you at the Commons to tell you more about that, and you can always pick up information when you stop by to visit us. And I also want to say, do you have any other books you want to share? I didn't want to.
Well, no, I think that the Welcome to the Circuits of Baseball is really, it's worth reading. I strongly recommend it.
I think that's timely too with the summer sports. And
absolutely, we just got done with the NASCAR race here, and we've got baseball for a few months before football starts.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, don't forget, our Friends of the Library, they have a book sale every month, and it starts on the second Thursday in the evening, and it's through the weekend, Friday and Saturday as well. Over at the Friends bookstore, which is behind the Stone Center, over just down the road from us, across from the market there. Any book that you purchase there, I would say this, they're like in excellent condition. They're just like, this is like a brand new book that I got for $25. Yeah, they have different prices, but you can pick up books for all ages, DVDs, CDs, music and movies, books, puzzles. All the money that they raise comes back to help the library with its programming. Summer reading is a time of year, along with you have a little mandala here so you can color and release your stress while you're enjoying your summer vacation.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I want to say one other thing. Imagination Cafe, it kicks off next week.
Okay, what we have in the Imagination Cafe?
Have you heard about the summer feeding and reading program for kids?
Well, you'll have to refresh me.
Every Monday through Friday from 11 to 12, we have meals provided for our children, courtesy of the school nutrition office. Local restaurants are chipping in to help out as well. Come and get a meal, visit with your kids, get some books to read, feed your mind, feed your body. We're going to have activities and crafts, and we call it Imagination Cafe for the kids. So any kids are invited to come from birth to 18. But it is first come, first serve. It starts at 11, so if you're a late one, getting in a little late, you're iffy if you can get the food, but we have plenty of good books.
What are some of the restaurants that are involved?
I don't have the lineup yet for all of them. I know I talked to Mick over at the Lost Wombat, and he'll be helping out. I think Subway is also helping out. The restaurants will be kicking in with the meals in August.
Lost Wombat, that's just right up here.
Yeah. So in August we'll have, when the school nutrition office is run out with their food meals, then we pick up with the restaurants. But we feed the kids all summer, and we just want to bring you in the door to introduce you to some good reads and keep you going. It helps prevent the summer slide. You know, when kids are out of school and they're not actively studying, they're out there. Maybe they're not in touch with reading all as much as they were during the school year. We got to keep them reading. And as far as imagination goes, I have this calendar, and I'll just share that. This is a magic calendar because every day, whatever the quote is, it just seems to apply in some way or another. So the quote says, "Imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions." So come to the Imagination Cafe and join us for good reads all summer long. Anything else?
No, yeah, thank you for all that you're doing for the system and for the county.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
and Jacob is our new director, so you may not have met him yet, but he's popping around between the 3 counties, and we're glad that he could sit in today and talk about books with me. I love talking about books.
Oh, and this one was a good one to talk about. I really like this one a lot.
Okay, cool. I didn't know about the mascot, but now
Oh yeah,
see
no,
the
it's
little,
definitely worth
little
reading.
mascot on the corner down there. We do have a mascot. Be on the lookout. I might bring him in here for a Zoom next time around. We have a library mascot who is a fox. Arlie, the library fox. He's our reading ambassador, so he'll be visiting us this summer, and we'll let you know when to come by and visit. Come by anytime, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Y'all have a great day.